all across the country, students have been tested like never before.
I'd say overwhelming.
I was just struggling all the time.
At the very beginning, everything was just chaotic.
Definitely, I had a lot of doubt.
Chaotic and a bit stressful.
Stressful, different.
Kind of relentless.
Do you know what is going on in the minds of these young people?
There were actually some nights where I have cried over exactly that.
They can't be productive, they are not thinking.
If I have a test the next day or I'm not super confident on material, it could be 2 to 3 in the morning.
These young people are stressed, psychologically disturbed. Their moods are low.
Sometimes it's really hard to just be motivated to actually get on the Zooms and to do the work.
These schools often suffer from rates of depression, anxiety, substance use, rule breaking, things like cheating, stealing, at rates higher than other students do.
Of mounting stress and less motivation to learn.
You will not be surprised to hear one of our students doing something silly.
I feel like it's just going to be fine.
2020 was a challenging year for all of us, whether you were a health worker or not, whether you were employed or not, whether you were young or old. 2020 was a big hit on all of us. It was especially a big hit for us as students, and I was by no means an exception. Navigating and trying to make sense of a global pandemic and preparing for examinations that could possibly have a significant impact on the trajectory of my life, I could say that I was under immense and intense psychological distress. It is the year 2020. I cut my hair to signify the beginning of a fresh start, and I am later on supposed to sit for my final examinations, that is my GCSEs in November. I set my goals and write down what I want to achieve in all of that, and I start working towards them, maybe a little bit too hard. I am running on low amounts of sleep. I don't have a regular sleep schedule. I'm not socializing out of school, and I am sacrificing all my hobbies and not doing what I love. I can safely say that in that moment, I was sleep deprived. Sleep deprivation has a number of effects on the body, from physical effects to mental effects, from forgetfulness and lack of concentration to irritability, anxiety, and sometimes depression. 3 months later, the COVID virus hit Botswana, and we were forced into lockdown.
Good morning, and thanks for coming through to us. Just tell us more about what you know about these first 3 cases in your country.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners. Yes, we can confirm that yesterday the Minister of Health for Botswana did confirm that we've got 3 cases now, as he reported yesterday on a live TV interview. So we can confirm that we've got 3 cases that have now been confirmed in Botswana.
We have decided to shut down or lock down Greater Gaborone, which means as of tonight, midnight, Gaborone or Greater Gaborone will undergo a period of extreme social distancing or lockdown until further notice.
In that moment for me, I collapsed emotionally, and not a lot of people know this, but I did have an emotional or mental breakdown. I remember crying, and my teacher was sitting next to me, and I remember just trying to make sense of everything that was going on. I did not fully understand what was happening with the virus and when we're going to come back to school. Everything was just unsure and uncertain. And I remember in that moment, my principal, who had been nothing but support from the moment I walked through the gates of our high school, was also leaving us to go and get another job in a different town. So in that moment, I just didn't understand who I was left with or what was going on and what was supposed to happen now. In summary, everything was just uncertain. And I was also sleep deprived. The lockdown was time for me to recuperate and recover from the stress that I had put my body through. And once lockdown was over and we were back in school again, I went back into it like nothing had ever happened. Again, I pushed myself beyond my limits and I was just working myself to the bone just for a grade or a number of points. Not a lot of people know this, but in that season of my life, I did pick up a lot of bad coping mechanisms, bad habits that to this day I am not proud of and I do not want to go back to ever again. November came and class of 2020 set for their final exams. Once again, kudos to everyone that set for their finals in 2020. That was not an easy time, and yeah, we wrote and we finished, and after that I remember all my walls came crumbling down. It's like this switch had just went off and that was it for me, and I had my consecutively second mental breakdown. I was in a questionable mental state and my body was finally reacting to the pressure that I had put it through, and I was paying massive amounts for it. I was in a very, very bad space. I did not feel like myself at all. And because I did not feel like myself and I was just not understanding myself at all, I got into some more dangerous and more bad habits, and maybe when I am ready I will talk about it, but in an attempt to self-soothe and escape, I did go into some things that I am not proud of. At this point, I had realized that my relationship with academia had been nothing but toxic. And when given the opportunity, I wanted to do things differently or do things right. It took me several months to start and begin feeling like myself again. And I'm thankful to Jesus. I'm thankful to my friends and my family. And I'm also thankful to myself because it takes a great deal amount of energy to work yourself out of a dark place. So yeah. I think my relationship with school had always been toxic up until that point, because whether I wanted to believe it or not, I had a deep-rooted sense of self-worth that I found in academia or in how hard I worked or in my grades or stuff like that. I knew that I was more than that, and I knew that I was a lot more other things, but I had never known a life where I wasn't it. And that was a little bit toxic, and what had happened had proved that to me. It was also toxic because I struggled with knowing when to stop. That is, when studying, when working. I struggled with knowing when to stop. So I would keep going and going and going and going until I broke. I realized it was also toxic because I had guilt sometimes when I had to take a break. I would feel guilty. And yeah, that was not it. I also had a hard time taking rests or breaks, which shouldn't be the case at all. And I've also always had the pressure from myself to be high achieving and be over the top productive, all-star kid, whatever, just from myself. I had always put the pressure on myself. I know you're expecting this to be a big testimonial video, but sometimes I still struggle with taking breaks. To this day, I struggle with feeling guilty. I struggle with playing and having fun with my friends. I struggle with taking breaks. I feel guilty sometimes when I am out with my friends and I'm having fun and I see someone coming from the library. I still feel a little bit of guilt. But I did make a promise to myself in November of 2020 that never again will I put my body through what it went through. Until this point, I have successfully managed to achieve that with the help of a supportive family as well as supportive friends. My relationship with school has shifted significantly in the sense that I try to have fun. I try to have fun with every single moment. I try to enjoy every single moment, and I try not to take myself too seriously. That way I learn faster and I am able to retain the knowledge even more faster. I treat my studies as an adventure and not just a checklist waiting to be done with. I savor every lecture, every lecturer, their dead or dead jokes, every stressful moment, every beautiful moment, every moment that doesn't make sense, every laugh, every cry, every single moment of it. The beautiful moments, the painful moments, the moments when it doesn't make sense, all of it. Because it's all about the journey, and the journey is the destination.